And what's up, everybody? This is France over here from P Nintendo, PlayerSense.com, PlayerSense Gaming, and I have another live stream here. So thank you for all who joined me in here, and of course, thanks to everybody who catches the replay when I post it on PlayerEssence and it's on my and on my PE Nintendo channel. So you guys have heard my opinion about this whole, I guess it's kind of like a controversy, but not really, but this whole Nintendo at E3 thing. And I've discussed my own opinion on it before, briefly, but it was within like a whole nother thing, or it might have been a whole separate video, but I wanted to elaborate on it a little bit and kind of give reasoning, because that's the one thing that I didn't really do. I just kind of just gave some like, oh, well, it's because of this, this, and this. I wanted to kind of give reason why first of all, I've never liked the format for E3. I've always been incredibly hyped. I've always been ready for E3. And then the conferences, really, I've always been so hyped for them because the media tells us to be hyped. So I'm like, okay, I'm hyped. And this is going all the way back to, I think, 2003 or 2004 when I started watching this. You know, I've always been incredibly hyped for these conferences. And we're not just talking about Nintendo here. We're talking about Microsoft and Sony. And then the conferences come and they're not good. I mean, they're not good compared to the hype that's built up for them. There has been very few times that I can say coming out of a Nintendo conference. So we're just going to talk about Nintendo right now. Um, Coming out of a Nintendo conference where I was like, you know what? That conference was amazing. It had all of these games. It had everything that was good. It was just an amazing conference. There's been very few, less than I can count on one hand, you know, how many times Nintendo's actually came away from a good conference since I started watching back in 2003. So before we get into all of the other things, and sorry if you hear some noise out there. My window's open, so yeah, sorry if you hear some background noise. But here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Since 2003, I'm just going to go over just some of the highlights of the conference. So since 2003, this is Nintendo only. Pac-Man. Okay, I've actually got to close the door. There's a dog barking. So real quick, guys. Oh, sorry about that. There was a dog barking. I didn't want to have a bunch of, and it didn't look like he was going to stop barking anytime soon. But anyway, sorry about that. But since 2003, guys, getting back to where I was, Nintendo's E3 press conference that year was horrible. They had Pac-Man Championship. That was the big send-off. Was Pac-Man? It was horrible. Now, the thing that everybody who likes to be in favor of the conferences always points to, well, I remember 2004. In 2004, they had that Zelda, which was, you're right, the Zelda, that conference was good. It had Resident Evil, it had Zelda. People were cheering and hooping and hollering. It was great, but that was 10 years ago. That was probably the best E3 conference Nintendo has done, and that was 10 years ago. And then everybody always points to that one, but 2004, there's some people that weren't even born yet, man. And I mean, like, there's a lot of people that weren't even born yet, and that are probably playing games that don't even remember that. They were way too young. I mean, there was, you know, if you're a teenager, if you're in your mid-teens, not sure if you were watching, you know, when you were 2 or 3 years old, you know, like you're watching the Zelda from 2004. 2005, it was more talk of the Wii, which was cool, I guess, but there was really not a lot of content. It was, and then 2006, more talk of the Wii. They're showing off some of the first launch games, stuff like that. Was it cool? Yeah, it was great. I mean, was the live conference any better than anything that I remembered? No, it wasn't anything. It wasn't as hyped as 2004. You know, and of course they're showing off Zelda and all that. 2007, you had Galaxy, you had Metroid Prime, and then it was a lot of business talk. I mean, it was cool. It was nothing crazy, like I said, nothing crazy. 2008. 2008 was probably what made me say I'm never going to get hyped for these conferences, like where I just kind of just it just notched down. Like 2008 was probably the worst press conference I've ever seen in anything. The worst stage show. I mean, I can sit here, I can dedicate a whole live stream to how bad 2008 was. And just for a refresher, I mean, for some of you guys, maybe you guys don't remember, Nintendo decided that they wanted to roll out Wii Music and roll out executives playing fake instruments with the Wii Music, looking just Miyamoto, and a lot of the people that were there don't even work there anymore. I'm not even. Just Miyamoto was playing fake instruments. It looked horrible. It didn't look fun. The game didn't look fun at all, and it wasn't. And then they had that guy, the Ravi Roll, where he was just like, and he was just like drumming. I mean, he looked retarded, just as dumb as I just looked doing that. That's how dumb he looked. So and I'm not in front of a whole stage of a press conference, for a multi-billion-dollar company. So yeah, that was horrible. And then it was just embarrassment. And then I think that was the year that Shaun White was there, and then Cammie Dunaway was on the snowboard. That might have been 2000. I think that was 2008. But either way, just tons of embarrassment, tons of failure. 2008 was just horrible for Nintendo. But the funny thing is that the Wii still did gangbusters. So I mean, E3's press conference, I'm not sure if it has any real big deal about anything, because that was probably the worst press conference ever, and yet the Wii sold like crazy in 2008. So I mean, I don't think the press conferences really mattered. I think 2008 was a prime example of how the press conferences, I guess, don't really matter. I mean, they matter to the gamers and stuff like that. I mean, they matter to a lot of people, but in the whole grand scheme of things, marketing and games are far more important than embarrassing yourself in front of a press conference. But anyway, 2009, it was Galaxy 2. Great. They showed a little sizzle reel of Galaxy 2. It's like they didn't go crazy in depth with it. It was all right, whatever. And then the big finale was Metroid Other M. They had a sizzle reel of third-party games. Metroid Other M caught big applause, but everybody was saying, "Oh, well, if it wasn't for Metroid Other M, their conference would have been almost as bad as last year's," that's ridiculous. But yeah, so I mean, they had the one game Metroid Other M, which got people, cheering and stuff. But I wasn't cheering. I was in college in 2009 that year. I was going into my final year of college, and I was hooping and hollering and cheering, not because they were, just because I was like, "Oh, this is crazy." I was going crazy in my in my room, in my dorm room. So I mean, it wasn't okay. It was just that much at Other M. Other than that, it was just kind of like, it was boring talk, not much. So 2010 was awesome. So 2010 was probably the only press conference that rivaled 2004. As far as and remember, this is all my opinion, guys. I'm not trying to say this is like 100% fact or anything like that, so please do not take it as that people are trying to say I'm trying to force it down anybody's throat or anything. No, I'm just giving you guys my opinion as far as how I feel in the press conferences, because this is as long as I've been watching them, since 2003, so I'm just giving you guys my opinion. 2010 was awesome. We had the Nintendo 3DS reveal. We had what did we have? We had Donkey Kong Country Returns. We had Kirby. We had all sorts of good games for the Wii, but there was that one issue. Oh, Kid Icarus Uprising 2 on the 3DS. That one issue with Skyward Sword just not working properly. Whereas just on stage, just struggling. It just wasn't working. It just didn't look good. And I just remember people saying like, okay, well, yeah, like Zelda, that was their big game. I mean, they showed it early in that press conference, but it was like, man, like they didn't get it working. Obviously, in the hands-on and stuff like that, everybody knows it works. But in that press conference, it really didn't make it look good. So another problem that you wouldn't have if it was taped. So that was just another issue. I mean, it didn't break the conference for me, but at the same time, it was just like, that did happen. But I mean, I didn't care. But 2010 was really good. So 2004 and 2010 were the two best ones since 2003 that I can remember. Just moving on to 2011. 2011 was just Wii U talk. They unveiled it. Developers talking. They showed off more Skyward Sword. And they said Smash Bros. Is in development. They said Smash Bros. Is in development for the Wii U and the 3DS. And everyone was like, oh! And it was just like, okay, there was no footage or anything. So for me, I'm always looking, I was like, oh, great, but okay. The only surprise was that, it was coming to the 3DS too, whereas we all knew Smash was going to be in development for the Wii U. That's a given, so 2011 wasn't that great either. It didn't live up to the hype either. And then 2012 came along, more Wii U talk. Nintendo decided to roll out old ports. I mean, they had people talking on stage about old ports, sizzle reels of third-party games that we've already played, and Some of them were cool and all, but nothing crazy. And then the big finish, guys, in 2012 for all you press conference loving guys, Nintendo Land. They rolled out a stage. They had some like fireworks. I think they had all sorts of stuff for Nintendo Land. I mean, and look, I'm not trying to hate on Nintendo Land as if it's a bad game. It's not a bad game, but Nintendo botched that game because you make a multiplayer focused game that doesn't have online multiplayer that forces you to use more than one person. That my problem with Nintendo Land, it just drives me. That game just drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. Now looking back, it drives me crazy because Nintendo makes a game that doesn't let you play online, yet you need multiple people. What if you don't have those people to play? It renders the game useless just sitting on your shelf. So I mean, it's still a good game though. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. It's good when you have friends around, but if you don't have family members who like to play video games, you're kind of out of luck. But anyway, 2012 was not very good either. Most people said that 2012 wasn't good either. So looking back at the history of Nintendo's press conferences, I can see two that I thought were really good and lived up to the hype. Two in about, going on 10 years now, and I guess that would be 8 with if we're not leading up to now because they did the digital thing last year. But two, I can count off the top of my head at least 3 to 4, actually more than that, Nintendo Directs that I felt were better than the E3 press conferences. I can name it. The one in 2013 with Monolith Soft's X. That one was amazing. That one was so good. Even the one in December with Hyrule Warriors and some of the other stuff was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. The Smash Bros. Direct was awesome. Even Directs just focusing on single games. The Smash Bros. Direct was amazing. The Mario Kart Direct was funny and really cool, and it kind of harkened back to the 2010 E3 press conference they had. If you guys remember that one they had with the 3DS, they had like Reggie Fils-Aimé and they had like Iwata kind of like acting with the whole 3D popping out stuff and them running, like Iwata running and Bowser, I don't know, I think he like burned Reggie or something like that, I'm not sure, but it was like pre-recorded stuff. That was really cool. And now they're probably going to do something similar like that. If you look at like their Tomodachi and their Smash Bros. Direct, well, not the Smash Bros. Not really, but the Mario Kart, it looks like they're really changing their format. So personally, I like the Nintendo Direct format. They just need to fine-tune things. It's just taken them a while. At the beginning, it was a bit kind of like the editing was not very good and the content was kind of off, and then just like the direction and like how they like do like a little bit of Wii U games and like a bunch of 3DS, like the pacing was off, but they've started to get the hang of things with the Smash Bros. Direct, with the Mario Kart Direct. They're starting to see the Tomodachi Direct was surprisingly interesting, and those are the type of formats I think that going forward it's going to make it good for everybody. So personally for me, I absolutely love the Nintendo Directs. I like them. I personally like them because I don't have to go through all of the BS with the press conferences. Like I said, I'm not doing this just to defend Nintendo or anything like that. Guys, I've been saying this for quite some time, even beforehand. Me and my friend A-Train, who used to help me work on the site, he's in Japan right now teaching. We would get so hyped for these press conferences, but after 2006, we were hyped, but we just actually started waiting for the live shows, live streaming and stuff like that, because they just showed the games. Like I remember IGN, and like I've talked about this before, but IGN and GameSpot, perfect coverage of E3 after the whole press conference BS. After the whole press conference BS, that was the best part of E3. Because they'd sit up there with a rep from the game, and they would go 15, 20 minutes talking about the game. I remember watching every single one. That's what E3 is about. The games, okay? And I'm not just saying that because other people have said. I've been saying that for a long time. My favorite things with E3 is the games, not the format, not the stage, not seeing a bunch of other people get hyped in a live crowd about something, but the actual game. So that's why I love the stage shows far more. I'll take the stage shows any day, the live streaming stage shows any day over press conferences. And I've been saying this for a while now. I like the games. I like seeing the games. I don't care about a live show. And let me give you guys a little bit of background on myself, maybe so you guys know why I don't care about the live show. Okay? 1. I don't like watching live sports and live stuff. Like I don't like going out to the movie theaters. I don't like going to the movie theaters. Okay, I'd rather be in the comfort of my own home and watch it. I'd rather do like I don't like going to the movie theaters. I don't like going to. I mean, I'll go to a football game, but you're not gonna see me buy tickets and go to Niner games. Like I'm not gonna buy season tickets. I'm never gonna buy season tickets to Niner games. I might go to one game, maybe if somebody invited me. But if nobody invites me, I'm sitting down and I'm watching. I'm ordering the Niners season pass for the TV, and I'm watching on a big screen TV with refreshments and food, and inviting maybe some of my friends over, and we're gonna do it that way in the comfort of my own home. I'm not driving out there. I'm not dealing with the weather. I'm not doing any of that. And that's the same thing. Like live music, I hate live music. I can't stand live music. I went to one concert. I think I almost got shot. I didn't want to go again. Okay, that was the last time I ever went to another rap concert when I was in Fresno. So no, I don't like the live stuff. So that's just me. That's just personally me. And here's the thing, guys. I'm going to E3 this year. So a lot of people have been saying, oh, well, if you were there, you'd care more. Well, you know what? I'm going. I could be. If they were having a press conference, I'd be going. You know what I'm saying? I'd be going. But I'm not. I mean, I like the format that they're doing at this point. I really do. So let me get into some other things here. Why I like this more, and why some other websites might be upset about this. Here's the thing, guys. Nintendo's going to be live streaming from E3. Nintendo's going to be doing a digital event. Nintendo's going to be hosting a Smash Brothers tournament. Nintendo is controlling everything. Everybody has access to everything, whether you work for IGN or whether you are a one-man team or 1.5-man team with Anti doing a few posts here and there on the site, and I'm doing all the tech and other stuff like that. Like, it doesn't matter. Anybody's going to be able to cover Nintendo's biggest event as they see fit. The live streaming, Nintendo, usually a lot of the big media outlets, they get like the scoops. Like, if I went to E3, Nintendo's not going to sit down with the rep and live stream games over and over. Like, Nintendo and all the other companies aren't going to sit down with me and live stream games. I don't have a little setup that says Player Essence and all that. You know what I'm saying? So Nintendo's taking that away from them and saying, oh, well, we'll do our own live streaming of our games. And that makes a lot of these media outlets mad. You know why? Because that's hits, and hits that go from them that go to Nintendo. And guys like me, bloggers like me, and guys like Go Nintendo, who lives on the other RMC lives on the other side of the planet, or other side of the planet, other side of the country. It seems that far away. I'm an hour away from Los Angeles. I mean, I think he's in New Jersey or something like that. He doesn't have to fly all the way to E3 at this point. He can cover it from the comfort of his house and save his money because he's a one-man team too. So he can save his money because bloggers like us, we don't have all the money to be spending to be flying across places and to be paying for hotels and be doing all this stuff like that. So we can cover E3 just as good as IGN, who makes millions and millions of dollars. So, yeah, that's basically what it comes down to. Why some other websites are upset. Well, but I will say that some people at IGN, I know the IGN Nintendo team, they seem to be okay with this. For the most part, Jose Otero and I think Brian Altano, I think his name is, they seem to be okay with it, and they talked about some of the stuff that I talked about with the snafus that they've had with 2008 and all the other junk, and a lot of the times, like, if you look at going into Microsoft and Sony's conferences, I don't think I've ever liked any, and look, I'm not trying to be, like I said, this is not trying to be, fanboyish or anything like that, but I don't think I've ever liked any of Microsoft's press conferences. I don't think I've ever been impressed with any press conference Microsoft has had at any point. None of them. I don't even, maybe like 2006, like Gears of War, or 2005, I think Blazinski came out with a chainsaw and like ripped through something. Maybe that was kind of cool. Gears of War got me hyped to buy an Xbox 360. So maybe, I think 2006, yeah, maybe that was the one. But other than that, it's like Ringo Starr, it's the Beatles, it's like, I don't know, how many times have they had like multi-plats on there where it's like games that are like on every single system. And they're out there showcasing it like it's an exclusive. And then like there was like, they do like, I remember one year with Microsoft, it was like they brought Reggie Bush out there, and he played against some Microsoft executives like, hey there, brother. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely gonna. Oh yeah, watch out now. He was trying to talk like smack to him, and it was just like, dude, you don't talk like that. I don't even know if Reggie Bush was playing. Like, and like Reggie Bush has never been known as a Madden player. I don't think Reggie Bush has ever touched Madden since then. Too busy with the Kardashians after that. But anyway, I'm getting off topic with that one. But I mean, and I think another one with Microsoft, Usher, on stage dancing. Like, is that what E3 is about, guys? Usher dancing? Like, oh no! I can't do that. I don't even want to see Usher live myself. I don't want to see him in my video games. Like Usher came to Save Mart. He came to when I was in Fresno. Usher came to. I didn't go. The tickets were $12. I didn't even go there. And I was like, I don't want to go to that. And now you have Usher in my E3 in my realm. No, get that crap out of here. So it was just like, and I think when you're, Sony's had some good ones. But nothing that just gets me truly like hyped. It's like, they had like the Ridge Racer, like that one sucked. 2006 Giant Enemy Crab or Massive Damage, that one sucked. And the guy that was playing Warhawk, and he was like going crazy with the DualShock. He had like the DualShock like this, and he was like, ooh, he was like going crazy with the DualShock. It's like, you don't play Warhawk like that. When you play Warhawk, you're like this. The 6-axis sucked in Warhawk. He was going crazy. That was stupid. And then like I remember one year Sony, they brought out Kobe Bryant. Kobe was like, yeah, just Kobe had no clue what he was doing. I mean, it's funny because Kobe plays video games. Kobe plays video games, but he didn't know what he was doing there. I mean, there were stories about Kobe Bryant when Kobe Bryant first got into the league because he was 17 and he couldn't go out with all the other guys. He couldn't go out and drink. He couldn't go out and do the other stuff. So he was just inside his room playing PS1 because it was PS1 back then. He came into the league in 96, I think. Yeah, 95 or 96, one of those 2 years. Anyway, and Kobe was just playing PS1 all day in his room, or he would just even a few years later. I mean, I think he was just playing PS2. There are times he can just play PS2 when he was like 20, or PS1 or PS2. So he couldn't even. So he's a gamer. He'd been playing video games, but he didn't know what he was doing that whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Because he hasn't been playing or upkeeping. But it was just like that one was garbage. And then like everybody was talking about like when Kevin Butler came on. I mean, it was like, okay, Kevin Butler came on. That's great that Kevin Butler was there, but Kevin Butler isn't Legend of Dragoon. I much rather have them make Legend of Dragoon than bring Kevin Butler out on stage. I'd much rather have them show, the next God of War or show games than have a comedian come on and, and talk about stuff. And I remember people were saying, oh, Kevin Butler was there. Sony killed it at E3. I'm like, you can't win E3 with a dude. He's not a video game. And that's what I'm talking about. It becomes more like some event than an actual games. So I mean, that's the reason why I don't like these press conferences. Like I said, all the developers and all the publishers and everybody, or the Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, they're all trying to one up each other, with their business numbers and with their who can they bring out like stage Usher and stuff like that, and athletes, and like I don't want to see all that. And even like with EA's press conference, they brought out like John Bones Jones and somebody else. And I love Bones Jones. He's my favorite MMA mixed martial artist. But I don't want to see Bones Jones on stage at E3. You know what I'm saying with these press conferences? I don't want to see Bones Jones at E3. I just don't. I want to see him in the octagon. I want to see him fighting people, not sitting there standing with the championship belt. I want to see him on ESPN, not at E3. And that's the problem. That's what these developers and these publishers and these companies don't understand, is that people don't want to see that junk. Nope, they're trying to do it for the outside media. John Bones Jones was at E3, or Ringo Starr was at Microsoft's press conference. That's not for the gamers. So I don't need to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even know if Usher even plays video games. So I don't think he does. So I'm not worried about the whole event and the live shows and stuff like that. But so to kind of whittle down my thoughts on this whole thing, this is the best thing for gamers. If you're a gamer, and for the people that are in the asking the questions, I'll get to those at the very end. Um, Gamers, if you are a gamer, Nintendo's E3 is the best thing for you. Skip sales, because that's a lot of people are saying, oh, well, the sales, the E3 conferences are. Okay, sales are important. That's great. We all want the system to sell. But you know what gets people more hyped than conferences and stuff like that? Games. When you see games, that gets you hyped. You know what sells systems more than a conference, as Nintendo's proved in the past with the Wii at times, is actual games. Games are going to sell the Wii U. Games are going to bring more people in. Mario Kart 8 isn't even going to be showed off at the E3 press conference. And that's going to sell a ton of Wii U's. Games are going to sell Nintendo's system. And that's what I'm excited for. This is the best thing for gamers. You know why? Because instead of sitting down and complaining about a press conference, why don't you go to Best Buy? Spend all that time complaining. Go to Best Buy and go play the game. If you're a gamer, why are you? I don't. Okay, let me rephrase this. I can understand why some people will be upset, and I'm not knocking people who are upset over a live press conference. So let me just get that out of the way. But what I'm trying to say is for gamers, for people who aren't going to be there, this is the best thing for you. You get to go play Smash Bros. You get to watch a tournament, which Nintendo got so much flack for at last year's E3 or last year's Evo for trying to, the whole Smash Bros. Thing. Now they're hosting their own tournament. You can play this. That's for gamers. You know what I'm saying? That's for you to go watch. That's what we want to see. So you can go watch all the best gamers, all the best Smash Bros. Players duke it out in Smash Bros. You can go watch. You can go play Smash Bros. At E3. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about tuning in to IGN or to GameSpot or looking to see who gets exclusive coverage of this game, who gets behind the scenes of this game. Nintendo's like, here you go. You can watch it live stream on our channel. You can get in-depth, straight from the developers, from the comfort from what we're doing it, not with somebody else pushing them and doing stuff like that. You can watch it from our side. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's so cool, in my opinion. That's just really cool, and I think that that's just a way for small bloggers like myself and editors like myself to get pretty much the full Nintendo experience that everybody, the big websites, are getting too. And for gamers, for us, that's the best thing I think that can happen. Here's another reason why I think Nintendo's plans for E3 are awesome, because it takes away all of the empty time. You know what I'm saying? In between, like, the shuffling of the video for what game you're going to be playing, the setting up, like putting on the Wiimotes, the getting everything, making sure everything's set up, cutting out all of the technical problems or issues, wheeling people in and off, talking, the introductions. With the Nintendo digital event, Nintendo can have the cool stuff like they did with Mega 64. What if they bring those guys back for the digital event? Because remember, it's an event, not a Nintendo Direct, but an event. So what if Nintendo brings back Mega 64 and puts them more in, but has skits with games and shows gameplay? So you get the comedy, you get the comedy, and you get the other and the games all mixed in together. And that's why I'm excited for this, because it's going to be something to where they can plan, they can think about it. It's not live. There can't be any issues. They tape it, they record it, they fine-tune it, they make sure there's good editing, just like the Smash Bros. Direct and just like the Mario Kart Direct. They go out there and they show it to us, and they have all the games. There's not going to be any time in between having to get people on and off stage and other stuff and introducing people. It can just be games, 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 games. And that's why I'm stressing this. You guys have heard me say it over and over, but that's what E3, in my opinion, is about, is the games. And for me, it's always been about the games. It's never been about the press conference. It's been about the media telling me to get hyped, and I'm getting hyped, and then I realize that it's not as good as I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, oh, well, they have all the other stuff. And then I always come away with E3 saying, oh, that was amazing, because there's always great games at E3. No questions asked. There's always great games, whether it's from Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. They all bring good games. If Nintendo has a down year, like 2008, Microsoft and Sony pick up the slack in 2008. Sorry, cell phone goes off real quick. Okay, sorry about that, guys. cell phone went off. That's why you do these live stream shows. You got to make sure your cell phone and all that is. I put it on silent. Anyway, so for me personally, there's always great games at E3, and that's what I'm interested in. And this year's E3 is no exception. Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, they're all going to bring it. We're in the next generation of gaming. We're in the next generation of gaming. Microsoft and Sony, that's cool. They want to do their press conference. They want to handle their business. That's great. But I will say this. Last year, it wasn't because of games. And, I've said this before, because of Sony won E3. Because Nintendo brought the most exclusive games. Nintendo showed the most footage on games. Nintendo had more exclusive. Nintendo had tons of 3DS games, tons of Wii U games. Sony, you know what I'm saying? Sony, they didn't even care about the PS Vita. Really got no big titles that they showed last year at last year's E3. And with the PS4, they had games that we had already seen. They had multiplats. They had Kingdom Hearts. They had as easily Microsoft could have showed those games too. They had Kingdom Hearts and they had Final Fantasy 15. Those are multiplats. They showed Destiny. That's going to be on 4 different platforms. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were just showing multiplat after they talked about apps. At the beginning, they talked about apps and TV and stuff. I don't even really. Sony's conference wasn't good. It was delayed and it wasn't really good. And then at the very end, they showed up Microsoft, and that's why everybody said this was amazing. They did what they were supposed to do. You're supposed to have you're supposed to have a console that doesn't make you buy a camera that you don't need. You're supposed to have a console that lets you play used games. You're supposed to have a console that doesn't require online DRM. The PS Vita didn't do any of that. The 3DS doesn't do any of that. All of the newer systems that it came out, 2011 and up, since then, the Wii U, Nintendo didn't go on stage. Okay, guys, you can no DRM. You can play used games. Reggie just said, yeah, you can play used games. Yeah, there's no always online. I mean, Nintendo just thought those things were standard, but no. Sony, because of what Microsoft did, Sony basically capitalized on it, and it made their conference look so much better than it actually was. And then on top of it, they rubbed it in with this is how you trade games, or this is how you play games, or use games with the PS4, and they showed like the 2 guys, like Yoshida and the other guy, I think Boyles, that's what his name is, just exchanging each other games. Come on, really? Is that what made them so great? So that's my problem. Was that wasn't really about the games. It was about Sony doing stuff that they should have done. This whole DRM and other stuff like that, like that stuff should never be in the gamosphere in the first place. So I don't know why they got such big props for it. Microsoft messed up, so they just capitalized on all of Microsoft's mistakes. So I didn't think either one of those press conferences were good. Going to Nintendo's E3, last year, I think it was too short. It was too short. I think they should have combined the Nintendo Direct that they had earlier with the Sonic Lost World. They would have brought in Sonic with there and made it a little bit longer. Maybe showed off some more of some other titles. It could have been great, but the format was not very good. And plus, they kind of had some technical issues too. But that will be fixed because they're doing YouTube this year. But the problem was that it was just too short, and that this year's event is going to be much longer because the Smash Bros Nintendo Direct was 40 minutes. So if the Smash Bros Nintendo Direct was 40 minutes, this digital event is going to be much bigger, and that's why they're not calling it a Nintendo Direct. They're calling it a digital event. So people who are just thinking it's going to be a regular, Nintendo Direct, you're in for a big surprise. This isn't going to be an event. What I mean by event, this is going to be, I'm probably going to say there's probably going to be some acting in there with Iwata and with Reggie and some of the other guys from the Treehouse. There's going to be a little bit of acting. There's going to be some stage scenes where they're going to integrate games into the whole thing. There's going to be big titles. I'm guarantee you something right now. Shin Megami Tensei Crossfire Emblem will be at E3. I think I'm giving you, it's going to be there and it's going to be awesome. I think they're going to have an art style similar to, and like I've said this before, Valkyria Chronicles, maybe something along the lines of that. It's going to look like that, the models and stuff like that, but of course better looking. And they're going to have they're going to have Monolith Sauce X, because we still don't know a lot about that game. We still need to find out a real name for that game. We still need to find out how more of the combat system works. We still need to find out more of the characters. There's so much that they're going to unveil. Oh my gosh, not again. Anyway, they're gonna unveil more and more and more on that game. So this is going to be a big deal. And plus, they're gonna have new games. Nintendo's been, and this is going way past 30 minutes, by the way, because I have more to talk about. So this is going past 30 minutes. Sorry if you guys have to go somewhere. Catch the replay. But Nintendo's going to have big, big, big games, and they've just for those who don't know, they actually did they've trademarked last year. They trademarked Pokemon or Pokken Tournament or Pokemon Tournament and Pokken Fighters. And a lot of people are in it, and they just trademarked both of those in Europe. So a lot of people are saying, oh wow, Pokken, Tekken, Nintendo and Namco Bandai, they're working together on a lot of different projects. They've worked together on Smash Bros. Before. Is this when they take the next step and make a Pokemon tournament fighting game? And it all kind of ties back. And now this is just very loosely. I'm just kind of, doing things here and there. But, Isaiah Triforce Johnson, shout out to Live and Level, the Live and Level podcast. Isaiah Triforce Johnson was on there, and he was talking about Nintendo's E3 events, and he talked about how Nintendo has something new, of course, but it didn't seem like a new game, but it seemed like a new event or like something that's grand that they wanted to show. Maybe Nintendo is doing this whole tournament fighting thing because they're trying to get into the tournament fighting scene, because they're trying to get into the esports scene, which they finally realize can make them money by more people buying their games, more people buying their system to get into that. Maybe Pokken Fighters is made with Namco Bandai together to a Pokemon fighting game, maybe even with Tekken characters, probably not, but maybe even with Tekken characters where it's a realistic fighter. And they showed that off, I think it was last year at some Pokemon event. They showed off like that realistic looking Pokemon, with really good graphics. And they just said, oh, it was just a concept, at that Pokemon event in Japan. But that could easily be a Pokemon fighting game made with Namco Bandai, and the Pokemon Company to get hardcore into the esports scene, and they could reveal that game at the Smash Bros. Tournament. I mean, maybe I'm crazy for thinking that. But it makes sense. Like all of a sudden, oh, you see these Pokemon tournament registrations and these trademarks. You see Pokken Fighters. Namco Bandai makes fighting games. They're working on Smash Bros. That's a fighting game. Nintendo's getting into the esports, scene with Evo, another MLG circuit with Smash Bros. I really think that there can be a Pokemon fighting game that's going to be announced. Like they're going to say, hey, maybe at the end of the event or maybe even before the event, we also have a world premiere of a new fighting game. And bam, they show the first footage of the Pokemon fighting game. That would be huge. Oh man, think about that, guys. That would be huge, and you can maybe get the live reactions from the crowd there. So I mean, I personally think that could happen. So I mean, to me, that's hype. To me, this is hype. The Smash Bros. That's hype. The games, that's hype. I want to see Zelda. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Zelda. I want to see the games. I don't care what format it comes in. It can be the Nintendo Direct format. I mean, if it's a live show, that's great. Just don't bring Shaun Wyatt out on board. Don't have people on balance boards. Don't have people on playing music, Rabby rolling. You know what I'm saying? Just show the games. Kind of just to look at both sides of the coin. If Nintendo did a live show and they just showed the games like they did in 2010, kind of. I mean, 2010, yeah, it was kind of the more of the games. Then that'd be great. But they still did some pre-recorded stuff in there. So it wasn't like it was 100% live. It was still, I mean, it was in front of the live audience, but they still did some pre-recorded stuff. But I mean, if they can bring that type of format, where they just show games, I'll be happy. But in my opinion, from what I've seen, doing the digital Nintendo Direct gets you news faster, gets you news quicker, and makes it to where anybody can cover it, and there's no preference as far as, I mean, there's still privileges that the bigger websites get, but it's nowhere near as bad. It's nowhere near as bad as it used to be with the behind closed doors stuff and behind closed doors we got to see more of Mario Kart 8. No, Nintendo's showing you Mario Kart 8 or Nintendo's showing you Smash Bros. Nintendo's letting other people play Smash Bros. Maybe even before some journalists have played Smash Bros. The new Smash Bros. Nintendo's letting the common fans play Smash Bros. For some people in the media, that's a little bit of a blow to their ego. They feel that they should be able to get preferential treatment since they work for a big website. No. Everybody, all the bloggers, everybody can cover it. Everybody can be happy with what Nintendo's doing as far as, for the gamers. So overall, I'm super hyped. I love what they're doing. I love these events because as a gamer, because that's what I am first. As a gamer before and I don't even know why so many people try to peg me as like some fake journalist or something. But I mean, I'm an editor. I'm a gamer. I'm a blogger. I'm a game enthusiast, and that's why I'm excited. That's why I'm super excited. I mean, I do journalistic stuff. I do interviews. I do some stuff like that here and there. I do everything. I try to do everything I can just to be about games. And I'm excited for this. As a gamer, I'm super stoked. I don't care about live shows, people dancing, Usher, and all that. I don't care. I don't care about. And also another thing that I want to say is I don't care about Sony's. Like last year, I don't really care that Sony's conference made it seem so well that they ended up selling as much as PS4s, as they did. I don't really think that's the reason why. I think the reason why Sony is doing so well is because one, the architecture of the PS4. It's the most powerful console out there. It's the most powerful system. Yet it's not more expensive. It's not any more expensive to develop for than the Xbox One, and maybe even in some regards the Wii U. Who knows? I mean, if you have a PC game and you're porting straight to the PS4's architecture is really good for that. I mean, you still have to do some optimization and other things like that, but still, the PS4 is selling well because the developers are behind the system, because it's the best place to play multiplats at this point, which a lot of people play. It's the best place to play multiplats, and it's priced. The price is good. It's $100 more than the Wii U. You know what I'm saying? And offers better graphics and better online play. I mean, you have to pay for that online play, but when you pay for that online play, you get you get PS Vita games and you get PS3 games. You get all of that in one. Plus, you get PS4 games that you can basically like rent for as long as they own them, as long as you pay for the service. So a lot of people see value in that. Not everybody does, but a lot of people see value in that. So I would say PS Plus, the architecture, developer support, and the power behind the PS4, and the price is the reason why the PS4 is doing so well. Even with a garbage conference, the PS4 would be doing extremely well because it's the best place to play COD. If you're a COD fan, the best place to play COD is on the PS4, and COD is one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game other than like Grand Theft Auto. But as far as annual releases or yearly releases, COD is the biggest game. So where's the best place to play COD? PS4. It's in 1080p, 60 frames per second. Yeah, well, COD sold like over 2 million units on PS4, well over 2 million units, not even counting digital. So that's the reason why PS4 is doing so well. Killzone sold over 2 million units. Infamous Second Son, great game, sold well over 1 million units. That's the reason why PS4 is doing so well, not because of a conference. Not because of a conference. It was because of the other stuff. So for people that are saying, oh, well, the conferences just help sales so much. No. Oh, Microsoft can have a great conference this year, and will sales go past the PS4? Probably not, because the best place to play Watch Dogs is on PS4. because Sony money had it, an exclusive deal with exclusive content, and then the architecture is probably going to run at better resolution, blah, 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 all that other stuff. So in my opinion, conferences don't really make or break what your system's going to do, because they're just for an hour and a half, one day out of the year. What's going to make or break your system, in my opinion, and that's why I think E3, why Nintendo's are pushing this E3 right, is the content. How many games do you have? You know what I'm saying? What's your game variety? As lots of people like to say, what's the game variety? If Nintendo comes and they show off Smash Bros, you've got a new Pokemon fighting game, a hardcore fighter like that's in the same vein as Tekken or something like that. You've got Monolith Soft's X RPG, massive RPG, online multiplayer. You got Shin Megami Tensei Crossfire, strategy RPG. You've got, of course, they're going to have some type of platformer, so you have more platforms to add. You have Bayonetta, action game. You know what I'm saying? If you bring the game variety, if you bring the content, if you make some improvements to the Wii U system to where you can get the multiplayer guys kind of latched on, that's what's gonna blow the sales wide open, for Nintendo. It's not going to be one conference out of the whole year, It's not going to be that. It's going to be content. And I think, like I said, I really believe that's why PS4 is doing so well, is because of the content and the value that you get. Okay, well, if you buy the PS4 now, you get all that, you pay for online, you get the PS3 stuff, too. Or if you have a PS Vita, you can do the PS Vita functionality. So for some people, that's real big. So that's just my opinion on that. Nintendo can turn things around. I think Nintendo's E3 plans, I think they're set up. Now what they have to do is execute. This digital event that they're doing, it better be at least minimum 1 hour, and that's the minimum. I would really like an hour and a half to an hour 15 minutes, hour and a half, but it better be at least an hour. It better not be 40 minutes, better not be 50 minutes. It better be at least 1 hour, and it better have so much content, and it better really focus on the Wii U. And with the 3DS stuff, that's cool, but do not chunk it in blocks, Nintendo. Do not do, 5 minutes of Wii U, then 40 minutes of 3DS or 30 minutes of 3DS. You did that one Nintendo Direct back in February or whatever, or I think it was March, or one of those two, where they just showed a little bit of Wii U, and then they showed a bunch of 3DS, and then they finished off a little bit of Wii U. No. You better intertwine that, mug. You better show the 3DS and then say, oh, we got a Wii U game here. Here's our next game. Oh, here's a 3DS game. Okay, maybe here's another 3DS game. Okay, well here's Wii U games. Okay, here's a 3DS game. It better be intertwined, or it better be just solely focused on Wii U and a little bit of 3DS peppered in and out whatever games that they got. But it seems like a lot of their 3DS games have already came out. Because you had Bravely Default, you already had Mario Golf World Tour, Kirby Triple Deluxe. It seems like Nintendo just got all of those games out and might just show like a little bit more, maybe at E3, just a little refresher, like sizzle reel or something like that. But it seems like they got most of their summer, Nintendo 3DS games out, and then some of the third parties are going to pick up the slack with some of the third party games coming out, there. So, it is what it is. So it is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to answer some of these questions here, and I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability. And like I said, all of these are just my opinion. I'm for gaming. Like, I'm not against Microsoft and Sony having their press conferences. I'm not 100% against Nintendo if they decide to do that. I'm just for gaming. And I think that with Nintendo's press conferences are always kind of garbage. So I like that they're going this direction. The media usually thinks that Sony and Microsoft have pretty good press conferences, so that's why they're continuing to go in that direction. So it all depends on who you talk to and what they want to do and what's best for each company. In my opinion, Nintendo's press conferences suck, and the Nintendo Directs are better, so I like what they're doing at this point, and I like that they're doing stuff for the gamers. Sony and Microsoft, most people say that they have good press conferences, so they continue doing press conferences. All right, so let me go ahead and get to these questions here on this question app. So let's see here. I'm going to select the first one here. This is from Tony. I can't say your full name, but it's from Tony Kuran. When will Bridgestone Tires do a commercial promoting Mario Kart 8 with Kevin Butler? LOL, I kid. I kid, playa. I'm still going to answer that question. Never. Next question. All right, this one is from NGX159 from the P Network, or P Network. No, he's not part of it. Well, he's on P Network on the Player Essence Gaming channel, PE Community on PlayerEssence.com. Do you think we'll see or hear an update regarding Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem? I already answered that. I said, yeah, I think they're going to have a big reveal. I think it's going to look very similar to Valkyria Chronicles on the PS3. I think it's going to have that type of art style. It's going to have like the, maybe even pencil-drawn type of art style that game had. Beautiful game. I've been playing that game. Oh my God, that game is one of my favorite games, Valkyria Chronicles on the PS3. So I think it's going to be something like that. It's going to look beautiful, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be really good. All right. And I think we have a part. Oh no, it's this is from Teresa Hammond. Looking at things in the context, do you think, or I think that she had a part 1 first. Okay, let me answer part 1. And I accidentally skipped over part 2 because of that. Oops, sorry, Teresa, I can't read part 2. Unless, Teresa, if you want to retype part 2 for me, that would be great. If not, I can only see part 1 here. You seem opposed against seeing sales figures in Nintendo's videos, but some of my favorite E3 moments were during the mid-2000s when they were bragging about bringing video games into wider demographics and emphasizing that they make games for everyone. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's not that it's cool. You can bring games to everyone, but you don't have to worry about throwing a bunch of sales numbers into that stuff. You don't have to worry about all that. So I think you have part 2 right here. Did she retype? No. So yeah, to me it's like at E3 I want to know about the games. last year Nintendo did a separate briefing for vendors and talked about sales and stuff like that. And if Nintendo wants to do a separate report or a very small percentage on sales and talking about stuff for everyone, then that's fine. But at this point with the Wii U, it's pretty clear that Nintendo needs to sell this system to gamers. They released a bunch of, Blue Ocean titles or whatever you want to say, like with WarioWare, and they released Nintendo. They've already released Nintendo Land 2012. That didn't catch on. That was supposed to be for families. They already released Wii Party U. They already released a bunch of They've released Lego City. They've released a lot of mini game collections, a lot of more family type games. And and while the sales have been okay, I think it was more towards because of Super Mario 3D World and The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD and the core titles that brought people to buy those. They need more. So in my opinion, I'm kind of over this whole selling to the families and stuff like that. Sell to the families after you've actually sold to the core gamers. The core gamers will tell their families to buy one because they have Wii Party U and stuff like that. And I think the PS4 is selling to. There's people who aren't hardcore gamers that have PS4 that are more casual, but they just play COD or they just play whatever games that are on there, Battlefield or whatever, so I think Nintendo just needs to really focus on just selling this to the core gamers, games like Bayonetta, games like Shin Megami, games like, the next Zelda. Those are all going to be titles. I mean, you look at the 3DS. The 3DS doesn't try to say this whole, they do have games for the family in there, games for kids, but the games that really got the things going were the games that core gamers that were most excited for. That's Mario Kart, you know what I'm saying? That's Super Mario 3D World. That's Kid Icarus Uprising. That's not a game for like families and for the Blue Ocean strategy. Kid Icarus Uprising did really well, helped push 3DS sales. Resident Evil Revelations helped. Those were all the games that really helped Nintendo, were the games for the core gamers. And those core gamers will tell their kids to buy one and buy one for their kids. And then you start seeing the spreading of it towards, everybody can have it. And then you see the Mario Party Island Tour. Then you see the other games that come in after that. But at the beginning of the system, I really think that you need to really push core games and get those people that have expendable money and that aren't, frugal with their money to go out there and buy it. Especially if you have like the Wii U gamepad. That's more, suited for core gamers. Okay, so that basically wraps that one here. If I ever see part 2, that will be great. Okay, I answered the question. Okay, that's cool. Next, I'm going to have Maestro. I think that's his name. Is it Maestro? Maestro, it's something like that. I'm sorry if I butcher your name, dude. I'm sorry about that. Regarding retransmission through TV, do you think Nintendo can actually part with an official TV streamer of E3 to show the Nintendo Direct? Well, it's a Nintendo digital event, and do you think that they can partner with the East? No, I don't think they will, because that might cost more money to put it on live TV like that, and when TV numbers are so down, and you look at, here's the thing, you look at the ratings for TV, the time that this is going to be aired, it's going to be in the morning. Most people are going to be at work. On Tuesday, people are going to be at work. People aren't staying home from work to watch a Nintendo conference. I'm telling you that right now. People are going to be at work. So I think it's just better to have it streamed online. I don't think Nintendo will partner with the TV people because that's going to cost too much money, but they can do it for basically free on YouTube. So, no, and make money off of the people watching it if they have ads or whatever, the ad royalties or revenue split they get from views. So, no, I don't think that they're going to do that. Okay. Okay, here's a good one. Here is a good one from PS3 Rules 890. You know what? I'll say this. I like your name because the PS3 is pretty. I gotta admit, the PS3 is awesome. I'm playing Valkyria Chronicles on there. I have my custom theme installed to where I should show you guys my custom theme on my PS3. It's so awesome. Every time you boot up my PS3, it's a different background of Naruto. My friend in college, my friend Andre, he made it for me, and anytime I boot up my PS3, anytime it goes back to the home menu, it's a different Naruto Shippuden background with icons and all, like Naruto icons, different characters. It's so awesome. It gives me something new every time. That's the only system that I can think of off the top of my head that actually lets you have dynamic things that you can customize yourself and put into there, and it was perfectly free. There's a PS3 theme creator. So yeah, the PS3 it's an awesome system. I don't play it. I didn't play it as much as my Xbox 360, just because Xbox 360 just had more games. But the PS3, it is a pretty awesome system at times. especially Valkyria Chronicles. That game is so good. But anyway, let's get to your question. Do you think that Nintendo will unveil a slim Wii U? It's a possibility. But I don't. They said that they don't have any new hardware. But when you talk about new hardware, does that mean something brand new, like spanking new, like Wii U 2 or Nintendo 3DS 2? Or does a revision mean new hardware? I don't know exactly their terms, so it's really shaky. Now, let me just say this right now. People are saying, oh, well, Nintendo's already announced that they're not having any new hardware at E3. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But, there's been times in the past, as Go Nintendo's RMC stated, there's been 2 times where Nintendo's flat out lied about having new hardware or new revisions. I think it was one with the DSi, if I'm not correct, XL, and then one with the DS Lite. And the DS Lite, I remember that one because it was like 2 days before the DS Lite came out. They're like, no, or 2 days before they announced the DS Lite was coming out. They're like, oh no, we don't have anything. We are not announcing any revisions. Then all of a sudden, bam, DS Lite announcement. It was just like, oh, really? So, I mean, of course, Nintendo might want to not say that they're not having any revisions or new hardware. And I think what they mean by new hardware would be like a revisions, because the Mario Kart 8 bundle comes out before E3. So you don't want people, if people knew that there was going to be a revision, they're gonna wait. They're not gonna buy the Wii U, the Mario Kart bundle. They're gonna wait to see that new one, and they don't want that. Nintendo delayed Mario Kart 8 on purpose to May 30th so they can get sales for May and then get big sales for June. So you're basically you're getting the 2-for-1 there in marketing terms. You're knocking out May because you're going to get people that rush out there and buy it on May 30th, and then you're going to get people that buy it throughout the week. So it looks good on your sales reports because you have 2 months of big sales, So Nintendo doesn't want anything to mess with that. So of course they're going to come out and deny it. But that doesn't mean, just because they denied it, that doesn't mean it might not happen. Like I said, there's been 2 times that they flat out lied before, so you never know. Maybe they have a revision. A lot of people want more memory. A lot of people want some, of course, new features now. Maybe Nintendo doesn't announce a Wii U Slim, but maybe they announce a rebranding. Maybe they announce a brand new operating system, Miiverse 2.0, where that has better integration with Miiverse. You can quickly check posts from the War Plaza. You can quickly send messages, all of that good stuff. So maybe they do something along that line. Good question, PS3 Rules, and keep on playing that PS3, bro. Hey, get Valkyria Chronicles if you haven't already played that. That game is awesome. All right. Let me move on here. Okay, got another one. Okay. Do you want this E3 to fill your wishes or to surprise you? And that's from Maestro. Do I want this E3 to fill my wishes or surprise me? I want to do a little bit of both. I'm going to be surprised. Here's a good thing, because Nintendo, with Nintendo, Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, it's already going to surprise me because we've seen nothing on it. So whatever they show, it's going to be a surprise. So I already know I'm going to be surprised. Zelda is supposed to be there. I'm going to be surprised. Do I want it to fill my wishes? My wishes are that they improve that they show that they're going to improve the system. That Iwata comes out there or Reggie comes out there and says, we've heard what you guys have said, and going from June 25th or June whatever, we have a new Wii U firmware update that's going to add these features, that's going to integrate Miiverse, and that's going to do this. That's my wishes, that they do that. Plus, they say, and not only that, but this game is going to take full advantage of Miiverse, the Miiverse integration that we got. This game is going to do this. So those are my wishes. So I want them to fill those wishes. So if I had to pick between the two, I already know the surprise is going to kind of be a given, so I'm going to say I want E3 to fill my wishes. I want the games to be awesome, of course, and I want them to come out and do the things that they need to do to improve the system. And like I said, the Wii U will be fine, because I'm telling you, the graphics are fine. People are putting a lot of emphasis on graphics. It's more of a problem of architecture than it is with graphics with third-party games. But we've seen with Mario Kart 8, we've seen with Monolith Soft's X, we've seen with Bayonetta, the graphics are great. So, in my opinion, that's the thing. They need to fix some of the other stuff. All right. Oh, here's a good one from Tony Kuran again. He says, "Do you think you can beat Shokyo in Super Smash Bros. and Mario Kart 8. Let me tell you this about Super Smash Bros. I'll tell you guys something right now. Can I beat Shokyo in Super Smash Bros. Brawl? Definitely. I think I can beat lots of people in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I think I'm very good at that game. Can I beat Shokyo in Melee? Probably not. Can I beat Shokyo in Super Smash Bros. 64? Probably not. Can I beat Shokyo in this new upcoming Smash Bros? If they don't have Wolf in there, probably not. I'm confident that I can beat just about anybody in Smash Bros. With Wolf. I'm not playing on a pro tour. I'm not, I haven't played against some of the best players in the world or anything like that. I've won a ton of tournaments when I was in Fresno, when I was in college. I've won, of course, all the tournaments that we had at Fresno State. And I won some other tournaments that we had, like at GameStops and stuff like that, where guys would come in. I've won multiple Smash Bros. Brawl tournaments with Wolf. I'm very good with him. I'm a bit of a spammer, and I'm really cheap when I use him. I spam my gun. I'm really cheap when I use him, but unless there's Meta Knight, I'm pretty sure I could beat anybody one-on-one. Multiplayer, like 4 players, it's all up for grabs. I don't know if I can win as far as that goes. But in Brawl with Wolf, I'm pretty sure I can. Like, let's say me and Shokyo played 10 times. I'm pretty sure I could beat him like at least 6 or 7 times out of 10. All right, that basically answers that. No disrespect, because I know Shokyo's a good player. I've seen him play too, but my Wolf is pretty freaking good. But I'm pretty sure he can take me in Melee. I'm pretty sure he can take me in 64, and he'll probably be able to, if there's no Wolf, I'm pretty sure he can take me in this new Smash Bros. Too. We'll see. I mean, I need to see the other characters, but right as of this point, I have no confidence. I have no confidence just playing as Flots against Shokyo, to be honest. All right, next question. What will we be? Oh, here we go. Another one from Maestro. What will we be expecting from you at E3 except writing articles? To be honest, I'm going to be having other people writing articles for me at E3. You can be expecting interviews. When I go to E3, I can't be typing and doing interviews at the same time. I'm going to be filming footage, so you're going to be seeing games. I'm going to be watching. Unfortunately, you're going to be seeing other people's footage of the games, like them playing the game and me filming them, and they're going to whatever publication they write for, they're going to have full credit for that. The only problem is that I only got one E3 pass this year, and I can't take nobody else can come with me because everybody's going to be at work. So unfortunately, I can't sit and wait in a line for 3 or 4 hours to play a game. So I need to get footage. I need to get footage of these games, off-screen footage. So I'm going to just be filming people playing games and giving my impressions of what I saw. If I can play a game, maybe if there's indie games or there's other games that I can play very quickly that I don't need to wait in line for hours, then I'll go in there and I'll play, and I'll give you guys my hands-on written impressions. If I can get video of it, I'll also take video. And you can expect interviews. I'll be getting interviews with some people from Nintendo. I'll be getting interviews with some people from Microsoft. Expect interviews from game developers. Expect a lot of the smaller games to get covered because I can get those interviews out quick. It's going to be hard for me to get the bigger guys because, like I said, I'm a one-man crew, and there's going to be IGN and all the other people with hundreds of employees there, or over 50, 60 employees there, and I'm just going to be there by myself. So that's what you can expect from me. You can expect tons of interviews, tons of content as far as games. Maybe you'll get some stuff that you won't get on other sites because they're going to be focused on the big guys. So you're going to get some of the small games coverage. You're going to get all footage of the big games, and you're going to get tons of personality. So you can expect my classic. I'm going to have jokes. I'm going to be saying things. There's going to be a lot of making fun of the YouTube community, of course. Not you guys, but other people on YouTube. I'm going to have a little bit of fun. And I'm just going to basically enjoy my time there. I'm not going to be there. I've heard what people say, like it's kind of like, oh, well, it sucks. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy doing interviews. I'm going to enjoy talking to developers. I'm going to enjoy shooting footage for games. And I'm going to enjoy uploading it and working for you guys. So it's going to be fun. So I'm going to enjoy it all. All right. Next, we're going to move on to get another question here. This is the last one here, unless I can find that other one. This is from NGX159. Do you see Nintendo announcing a Smash Bros. U bundle sometime in the fall, akin to Mario Kart 8's bundle? The only change I feel will make sense to replace the Wiimote for a Pro Controller, and they need to advertise the Pro Controller much more. Yes, I can see them. I can see Nintendo doing a Smash Bros. Bundle with the Smash Fest, with the esports, with all that stuff. You're going to get the esports guys who look at this game, you know you're going to get the competitive guys that say, okay, I might want to get into Smash Bros. They're paying more attention to it. And that bundle is going to be for them. So yes, I think Nintendo's going to do a Smash Bros. Bundle. Now, if they include a Pro Controller, it's definitely going to be, maybe it might be $325, maybe it won't be, who knows, maybe it'll be the same price, maybe the Wii U might get a price cut by then, nobody knows. Does Nintendo need to advertise the Pro Controller? I don't know if they need to advertise the Pro Controller. I mean, spend marketing dollars, like, hey, here's a Pro Controller that you can buy for your Wii U. I don't know if they need to actually spend marketing dollars on advertising a controller, because they're already trying to get people to buy the Wii U for its controller. So you kind of send the conflicting messages, like if you said, like, what type of advertising are you talking about? Are you talking about just like press releases? Are you talking about, you know, Nintendo Directs where they say, play this game with the Pro Controller? If you're talking about TV commercials, I don't know about spending any type of money to advertise a controller that's not your main controller, to reason why you're trying to get people to buy the system in the first place. Nintendo already announced that they're going to be ramping up their development of games that take advantage of the Wii U gamepad. I think Nintendo needs to, maybe they can do a better job of press releases of saying, hey, this game also supports this controller or stuff like that. But I mean, maybe even in their commercials, instead of using Wii remotes, maybe they should use Pro Controllers. Maybe if that's what you're talking about, then yes, advertise the Pro Controller aside the Wii U gamepad as an alternate controller to use for your Wii U. Great, but having a commercial that actually says the Pro Controller and spending marketing dollars on advertising a controller that's not your main controller, the reason why you should buy the game, is bad, because people will be like, okay, well, you're going to advertise this controller. Why do I even need that big controller? You know, that's probably driving the price of the console up. I can just use the Pro Controller for everything. So unless Nintendo's planning on doing a bundle with the Pro Controller by itself, then I would say no, Nintendo shouldn't be advertising the Pro Controller like crazy, other than just showing it off here and there, you know, every now and then. All right, good question though. This is way over 1 hour. Okay, here's another question. Are any Player Essence tournament for Mario Kart and Smash Bros? Yes, we're going to be having a Player Essence League and Player Essence tournament. As soon as I figure out all the details, you'll get all that as soon as I get it. But we're definitely going to be having tournaments scheduled for the weekends. They'll usually be around 12 p.m. I can tell you this right now. They'll usually be around 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or Pacific, time. So if you live in the UK, I think that's 8 p.m. If you live in the East Coast, that's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just want to make it early in my time so everybody overseas can get in on that tournament too. So yeah, we're going to have Smash Bros. And we're going to have Mario Kart tournaments and just PE game nights in general. So yep. Okay, and yeah, he's saying that's what I meant. Show the controllers on the, not the Wiimotes on. Okay, yeah, that definitely. I don't really think the whole Wiimote confusion thing. I think that's just, I think that's just a byproduct of some of the media and of course some of the confusion generally. But in my opinion is this: if people who have the Wii or that were really interested in the Wii, if they really wanted a Wii U, if there was a game that got them to go buy the Wii U, they would go to the store and they would say, I want this game. And that game, it would say Wii U. And the person working there would say, you need a Wii U to play it. If they sounded confused, the person working there would tell them, should be able to tell them what the Wii U is and all that. In my opinion, Nintendo hasn't released any games to where the casual gamer wants to rush out and go buy a Wii U. There hasn't been any. Nintendo Land wasn't that game. Wii Party U wasn't that game. WarioWare wasn't that game. Super Mario 3D World could have been that game for some people, and they went out and bought a Wii U. But I think more core gamers bought Super Mario 3D World for that. More people that were interested in like the games that we usually like, in the PE community, gamers. So that's my opinion on that. Nintendo needs to release more games that get people, core gamers, to buy the Wii U. It will trickle down. It will trickle down to the casual gamers, but they really need to focus on the core gamers. This whole confusion thing with the casual gamers, that needs to just go. There's no confusion with core gamers. Core gamers know what the Wii U is. A lot of them just aren't buying it. So Nintendo needs to convince these core gamers. Nintendo needs to convince their own fan base, the people who are saying, well, I want a Star Fox or Metroid, and I'm not buying a Wii U till I get a Star Fox or Metroid. You know what I'm saying? They need to convince them to go buy Wii U, not these confused Wii fans or people who put their Wii in their closet. I mean, who cares about those people at this point? Nintendo needs to get gamers to buy the Wii U, then worry about those casual people later at some point. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so it's going to be under answered questions. Okay, so I'm going back to Teresa Hammond's question that she had that I lost, and it says, here's the second part of it. Looking at things in that context, don't you think, and the context as far as Nintendo showing sales data and being for everybody, all of that stuff, looking at things in that context, do you think that there's news outside of just games that Nintendo could share that would still be for the benefit of their audience, both existing and potential, and not for the sake of shareholders and the press? Yeah. There's news like with the system updates. You know, Nintendo is very they're known for releasing system updates that don't do anything, they just improve stability and whatever, and block homebrew. Like when Nintendo does their updates, there should be features added. Like, you know, when Sony and Microsoft do their updates, they actually add stuff. You know, Sony and Microsoft, both of their systems are less than a year old, and they've already received more major updates as far as adding features, improving the system than Nintendo. And I don't care if people say, if you say that some things are needed or some things aren't needed. The whole point of the matter is this. The whole point of the matter is that you have other systems that are looking out for their fan bases and improving the features. Nintendo should also look out for their fan base and also improve the features as well as adding games. So yes, I think that Nintendo could also add features and add stuff other than games that could be for the benefit of their audience. Because believe it or not, adding stuff like integrated Miiverse or adding a quicker messaging system, that benefits everybody. I mean, like, so you don't, like, if you're in a game and you don't want to actually have to boot out of the whole game and to check a message, or if you can just quickly, you know, press the pause button and check a message right there on your gamepad. You know, you have messages sent straight to your gamepad or sent straight to your home screen when you hit the home menu. That stuff benefits me. I mean, there's been so many times where I see my little blue light, you know, I'm like, okay, well, what is it? You know, and you press the home button. It wasn't somebody, one of my friends logging on. It was a message in Miiverse, and like your Miiverse icon is going. I'm like, do I really want to check that? Is that an actual message from, you know, maybe one of my Player Access Network partners, like Nintendo or something like that, or is that just like a notification that somebody yabbed my post? It's like there's no distinction between what's important and what's stuff that I can look at just later, you know. So that stuff, like, I think they can definitely announce better integration with Miiverse. They can announce more features for the system, and that will help. That'll be for the benefit of everybody, even if you don't think that you need those things. You might use it at some point, so it can only make the system better, not worse. So it is what it is. All right. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like that answers all the questions. We've been going for about an hour, 15 minutes. Definitely thanks for everybody who watched the show live. If you missed some of it, because it was pretty long, and I know I had viewers that came in afterwards, if you missed some of it, make sure you check out playeressence.com. Make sure you keep it locked into my YouTube channel. I'll have updates. I'll have updates on news and all that good stuff, and you'll be able to see this whole recording on my YouTube channel. But it should take a little bit longer to get there. But it'll be there at some point, just because it was a long one here. But that basically wraps it up for this one. And we have one more question, one more last-minute question here. I'll answer it. My last question: if MS and Sony will be going the way of Nintendo for E3, like MS and Sony Direct, do you think a lot of people, me included, would go to E3? Yeah, they'd still go. They'd still go because the media still needs to capture the footage from the games. I mean, even though Nintendo's live streaming their games, Nintendo's still going to have some reps that live stream with IGN, because that's more millions and millions of people who are into IGN, you know, that are going to watch that. So yeah, they'll still go. They'll still go. They won't go to the press conferences because there won't be any, but they'll still go and get the footage from the developers and still do all the other stuff that E3 entails, as far as the sales data and other junk like that. So yeah, it'll still be they'll still go. The media will go. I'll go. I don't care if they have press conferences or not. I'll go anytime I can go. So anyway, yep, good question. All right, so that basically wraps it up here. Like I said, make sure to check out playerassist.com. Thanks for watching the live stream. And remember, all of these were just my opinion. I am pro Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. I love video games, and I'm going to E3 to report for you guys, so it's going to be awesome. Look forward to a great E3, and look forward to great coverage on playeressence.com, as we're a little less than a month away. Basically, no, about a month away, a little over a month, not less, a little over a month away from E3 hitting. So it's gonna be crazy. All right, then, guys, we'll see you guys for the next live stream. Peace.